the technical schematics of what is supposedly what a deity wants, following guidelines of sacred geometry, it has become robotic, mechanical, ritualistic, a cheap copy of the original awe-inspiring creation. From any group or person innervated by the Spirit, to make the identity of the group or person be the Spirit. You see, this is why sometimes somebody commanded by Spirit will speak in the first person, like Christ would have. I am the Alpha and the Omega. In that time, I'm quite certain the organization of his cells and his mind was what I'm talking about here. The why was the what was the why, the Spirit innervated it, and now his organization, the organization of his mind, was now commanded by Spirit. His identity was the Spirit, therefore speaking in first person would have been appropriate, yet misunderstood by anybody that didn't know what this was, that was blind to what occurs around them. The blind would accuse him of claiming to be God, when the truth was, in those moments, he was. The truth is, you see this in the animal kingdom. The Spirit shows up. It cannot be an expression of the ego. When this happens, it's when the ego and the structure of the body and everything is organized around the love of Spirit. This bursting into song. Why do they say bursting into song? Because the creative Spirit is a burst. It is a burst of awe, a burst of incredible, explosive, creative love expression. This is love. Instead, they've turned this into written down lyrics and notes, where people try out for the chorus and sit around and practice. That has become mechanical, robotic, dead. Raising the dead means nothing more than reorganizing the dead around the love of Spirit. Reorganizing consciousness around the creative Spirit. It means nothing more than that. People go to church ritualistically. Spirit is explosive and spontaneous. It erupts with love and expression and originality. Church is not a building that you go to once a week, or how many other times you go, and mindlessly mouth words that have been pre-written. There's nothing creative about that. That is anti-Spirit. You may have repetition, sure, but if you do it the opposite way, if you seek the repetition for the sake of repetition, with a bored, conforming look on your face, that's not it. The formulation of an inner city gospel, where you've got black people that just explode into song, they knew. And that's why you feel it. That's why they would say, "Can you feel me?" It's beyond linear words. You can sing the same note with a dead, unorganized consciousness in isolation, and sing the same note being innervated and commanded by a Spirit. You will feel the difference. The Spirit embeds itself upon any expression. One seems alive and awakens you. The other is monotonous, boring, and dead. This is the main reason that people are so turned off by these evangelical preachers. Why? What are they doing? At some point they observed, like artificial intelligence taking observance of somebody who had this church form inside of them, saw their expression and tried to mechanically copy it. That's why their accent sounds so weird. And God loves you. Yes, yes, yes. Because they noticed a change in resonance or something in somebody who's really commanded by Spirit. So they, yes, Jesus Christ, blah, 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 blah. And it's sickening. It is so blatantly disingenuous and mechanical. to anybody alive. Now, anybody that's not currently being infused with spirit, to them, it's something neat. They I guess, with brainwave entrainment and the music they use in their churches and all their methods of manipulation, I guess that phony, disingenuous act passes somehow for truth. God's gonna be with us today. Feel the love of Jesus. You feel the Lord here with us today. I'm quite certain that Christ wouldn't have spoken that way. Anyway, this is why mindless mouthing of words isn't it. You can see the goal. If you go sit by a lake and look at the animals and the people and the life forms, you can appreciate that which was already created. The problem is that a lot of people have become ritualistically focused on looking at pre-existing creations, whereby they lose their own creativity. Life is ongoing. If you remain focused on that which was already created, and only on that, then you're missing the element. Church is the organization of consciousness and structure around spirit that is spontaneous, explosive, awe-inspiring. You cannot know when it will show up, nor can you force it to show up. The ego has no control over love, and it's only resisting itself when it tries to do so. If you intend for love of spirit, that which loves all of you in everything that you see, regardless of its current state of existence, because it doesn't matter how warped somebody's mind is. If it's innervated by spirit, it will be organized around spirit. They will take great joy in their very existence when that happens. Therefore, what is heaven? Heaven is when there is pure beauty inside of you because of the organization of you in command around spirit. So that which you perceive to be outside of you has the same beauty, the same awe. Life that you see symbolically is just a template. Instead of trying to control your experience, let yourself know the experience occurs anyway, so it is really what you take from it. When you are innervated by spirit, what you take from it is awe. When you're following your own ego into a fortress of isolation, you're running from pain and chasing pleasure. One is alive, one is consciously dead. So what's the difference between life and death? If consciousness is eternal, being conscious doesn't necessarily mean you are alive. To be alive is to be expressive and creative, and in utter appreciation of all the creations around you and the